Hello and welcome to Books of Blood. My name is John and welcome to I think that this is the third video that I am filming, or that I've filmed, or whatever you want to call it. This is the third video in the 50 years of horror movies series that I have begun here on my channel. Alright, so I've covered the year 1972, I've covered the year 1973, so today we're going to be talking about the year 1974. I've got 5 horror movies here for you from that year. Alright, one thing to say about this is that I'm going to film the 1975 video right after I film this one, so you'll see me wearing the same shirt. And actually for 1974, this one is kind of appropriate. I'm going to stand up. I'm wearing my Texas Chainsaw Massacre shirt, or one of them. I don't know how well you can see it because it looks really blurry to me on the screen, but that's just one of the 3 shirts I've got of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And yes, that movie will be included in the 1974 list. So that being said, let me shut the hell up and get underway with the movies. Alright, first of all, from 1974, and some of these movies, I can't remember if I've seen all of these movies. I know I've seen 1, 2, I've seen 3, 4. I've actually seen all the movies from 1974. 1975 I haven't, so I'll talk about that in a minute when we get to that video. Alright, 1974, the first one we have is Black Christmas. Alright? This is directed by Bob Clark. Now, if you don't know who Bob Clark is, Bob Clark was also the director of films like Porky's and A Christmas Story. Alright, so Black Christmas was not the only Christmas movie that Bob Clark directed. He also directed A Christmas Story. You know, Ralphie and the BB gun, and You'll Shoot Your Eye Out Kid, and getting the tongue stuck to the pole and all that. The leg lamp, alright? Okay, so it is directed by Bob Clark. The screenplay is by Roy Moore. And it stars Olivia Hussey, Keir Dullea, and Margot Kidder. Alright, so what this is about is you got these sorority girls. They're on Christmas break, and they are being stalked by this mysterious person, this mysterious stranger. Alright, so this is considered one of the early slasher films. And you can see elements of it when you watch movies like Halloween and films like that. Okay? So, that being said, that is pretty much the plot of Black Christmas. Okay? I think I've only seen it once. I need to watch it again. Because, first of all, I love Olivia Hussey. I think that woman is just gorgeous. So just being able to see her in the movie, and of course Margot Kidder is fantastic too. It's got a pre-SCTV Andrea Martin in it. So yeah, it's just one of the movies you want to put on your radar, and if you haven't watched it, give it a watch. Alright, so there you go. Okay. Alright, and next up we have got Deranged, and this is also known as Deranged Confessions of a Necrophile, and this movie stars, it was directed by Jeff Gillen and Alan Ormsby, and the original screenplay is by Alan Ormsby, and it stars Robert Blossom, and this is one of those Ed Gein movies, alright, because you know, I'm not sorry, but Silence of the Lambs, the character of Buffalo Bill was loosely based on Ed Gein. Texas Chainsaw, the character was loosely based on Ed Gein. And now this one it's a little closer to home about how the character of Ed Gein. Now the character in the movie is not Ed Gein, but you can see it is clearly Ed Gein. Okay, so yeah, but yeah, it is as pretty much as close to the real Ed Gein story as you're probably going to get in a horror movie. I saw this movie about 10 years ago. I need to give it another watch. Alright, anyway, that is Deranged, and that is our second movie. Our third movie is It's Alive, and this is written and directed by Larry Cohen. It stars Sharon Farrell. Let me see, John Ryan and Andrew Duggan. So what is this movie about? This is about a couple that give birth to a monstrous and murderous baby. I mean, this baby is, yeah, let's put it this way. This baby fell out of the ugly tree. It hit every branch on the way down. It's got these big teeth, these big claws, and it becomes murderous when you scare it, and it scares very easily. But I think the premise of this movie is basically, if you have a child and this child turns out to be this ugly, hideous thing, or even turns out to be an ugly, hideous human being or a horrible human being, you know, are you still going to love that child? All right? So I think that's pretty much the premise of It's Alive, okay? So we're going to move on to the next movie, and like I said, I've already talked about this one a little bit. We are talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all right? And this is directed by Tobe Hooper. Screenplay is by Tobe Hooper and William Henkel, all right? So, stars Marilyn Burns, the late Marilyn Burns, the late Gunnar Hansen, Terry McMahon, Alan Danziger, Edwin Neal plays the hitchhiker, almost steals the freaking movie from everybody. But anyway, this is about a group of friends. They're traveling, or they travel to Texas to visit the grave of one of the people in the group. And they come upon this house, and in this house is Leatherface and his family. Leatherface wears a leather mask. Leatherface carries a chainsaw. Leatherface knows how to use that chainsaw very effectively. All right. So, and this is one of those movies like Psycho. There's not a lot of blood. In fact, Psycho, a lot of people just imagine the blood in the shower scene. There's hardly any. You know, I don't even know if there actually is any. It's just in your head, you know? And the same thing with Texas Chainsaw. There's not a lot of blood, but this movie is scary as shit, okay? Scary as hell, alright? Anyway, so yeah, that is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Okay? Alright, so let's move on to our last movie for 1974. I just watched this one a few days ago. And this is Vampires. I just heard somebody outside my window. I think it's the mailman. Anyway, this is Vampires, and let me get the information on this one. It's directed by Jose Ramon Larraz. The screenplay is by Diana Daubonnet, and Jose Ramon Larraz, although he is uncredited. The story is by Thomas Owen, and this stars Marianne Morris and Anoka Jabinska. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Alright, so what this is about is these two female vampires, and yes, they are two female vampire lovers. They're a lesbian couple, alright, and they have this big house, and they lure unsuspecting men to this house so they can suck their blood, take all their blood. That is pretty much the premise of Vampires, and that's Vampires with a Y, alright? So there you go. It is a very sexual movie. I would say probably, I don't know, maybe 50, I would say 50%, maybe more of this movie is sex. And I'm not talking about hardcore pornographic sex or anything like that, but there is nudity. You know what the hell these people, what is going on. So that kind of sex. Alright, so yes, that is Vampires. Alright, so that is going to do it for the year 1974. 50 years of horror movies. My name is John. This is Books of Blood, but for all intents and purposes, this is Cinema of Blood for this particular series. Thank you for watching, and take care, and stay scared. Bye-bye.